This past week, someone asked me a question that I'd never really given a whole lot of mind share to. Is Judaism a race? You know, it sounds like a modern question, but the answer takes us straight into one of the most dangerous shifts in European history. The short answer is that Judaism was never a race. That idea didn't come from Jews. It was imposed on Jews by others. For nearly 3,000 years, Jews have understood themselves as three things at once: a people, a faith rooted in Torah, and a covenantal family that accepts converts. A race isn't something you can join. I can't become an African. Judaism is something you absolutely can. That fact alone dismantles the race theory. For centuries, anti-Semitism in Europe was primarily religious. The church accused the Jews of rejecting Christ, of stubborn unbelief. And this matters because religious anti-Semitism actually has an exit to it. You can convert, and in theory, the hatred would end. Baptism erased Jewish status, so hatred was conditional in this case. But the modern world wanted something more permanent. In the 1800s, Europe became obsessed with some pseudosciences: phrenology, skull measurements, blood purity theories, and Jews became a prime target in all this. Wilhelm Marr, the man who actually coined the term anti-Semitism, made this shift explicit. He argued that Jews were not a religious problem, but a biological one. He wrote, "The Jew has conquered the world." There's no theology there, no belief, just blood. As one historian later summarized that shift, anti-Semitism moved from religion to race, from belief to biology. And once hatred becomes biological, it becomes permanent. You can't repent your DNA, right? By the time the Nazis came to power, the transformation was complete. Jewishness was no longer defined by belief or practice. It was defined by grandparents. Under the racial laws of the state, quote, "A Jew is anyone who descends from at least 3 Jewish grandparents," end quote. Conversion no longer mattered. A person could be a practicing Christian for generations and still be marked for death. So this wasn't theology anymore. It was administrative genocide. As one Holocaust historian put it, the transformation of the Jews from religious opponent to biological enemy made annihilation logical. When the state defines a group as a racial contaminant, then murder becomes policy. So some people will say, well, that's just history. No, it isn't. Today, Jews are still described not as a faith, but as a colonial race, a genetic oppressor class, a permanent moral contaminant. These are not religious claims. They're racialized narratives. And the pattern is consistent. When Jews are defined as a belief, debate is possible. When Jews are defined as a people, well, then history matters. When Jews are defined as a race, elimination becomes plausible. That's why the language matters. But here's the part of the story that deserves the last word. After the Bondi Beach massacre this past December, many assumed the Jewish response would follow the old pattern. Keep your head down, be less visible, don't draw attention. But something very different happened in Sydney, Australia. The community didn't retreat. They advanced. People took on more mitzvah observance. They showed up more openly as Jews. They emboldened one another to live Jewishly, visibly, and without apology. The last night of Hanukkah, 20 times more than the number that was there the day of the massacre showed up. Not as a reaction of fear, but as an act of clarity. Because Jews have learned something history keeps trying to teach. When hatred defines you from the outside, the answer is not to shrink. It's to define yourself from within. And yes, Jews didn't invent the race label. Our enemies did. Because a lie you can't convert out of is the perfect weapon to justify hate. But Jewish history proves something even stronger still. You can't erase a people who refuse to erase themselves. What do you think? Let me know at gavrielradio@gmail.com.